Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is episode number 357. For this one, we're playing 100-100 in Bobby's room. There's some huge all-in pots, some massive bluffs. You guys are gonna love it. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know I'm getting this video out a day earlier than I originally planned because I'm doing kind of a meetup game type thing at a place called the Toronto Poker Game in Toronto. I'm gonna be playing 5-10. It's a small club, so I'm not sure how much room there is for a ton of people, but if you wanna come out and say hi or play 5-10 with me, then I'll meet you out there. This is part of kind of a celebration of gold being allowed in Canada now in every province except for Quebec. So you can play in 44 states in the US and Canada. It's a join player pool. Be sure to join using my name, Brad. That way you get some extra perks. Last week I said that you get 10 extra chips if you make a purchase, but some of you got a bonus because it's actually 20 extra chips right now if you make a purchase until December. So be sure to take advantage of that. Chips are redeemable for cash at 1-to-1 with the US dollar. I have more information in the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're playing 100-100 with a $100 big blind ante. I buy in for $20,000 to start. Last session we won $24,000 playing 100-200 with the same group of guys. I haven't been able to string big winning sessions together lately. It'd be nice to book a solid win right now, but I've got limited time because I have a day date planned with my wife and baby, so we'll need to take down some pots immediately. We might need help from the deck in order to do that. The game's always scheduled to start at 10 a.m. We begin right on time. The very first hand we play is a bomb pot. 7 of us put in $300 each and we go straight to a flop. The dealer gives us pocket kings in the hijack. Ordinarily I'd be thrilled, but this is a great hand when it's heads up, or maybe we have 2 opponents. In this instance, we've got 6 opponents with random cards who are all seeing at least a flop. It comes Queen 9-3 with 2 clubs. It's just good enough to potentially get us into a lot of trouble. Checks to us. I already don't love the situation, but we need to bet for value and protection whether we want to or not. I bet 600 while I eagerly wait for someone to check raise us. There's no check raise after all. The cutoff calls. The big blind also calls. We've narrowed it down to just 2 opponents, but we're out of position against the player on our left. The turn is to 8 of clubs, completing flush and straight draws. It's very likely at least one of our opponents improved to take the lead from us if we weren't already behind. The big blind checks. I don't want to get blown off our hand that has plenty of value with the draw to the second nuts. I check. Hopefully the cutoff will let us see a free card. He's not going to do that. He's fairly aggressive. He bets 2,400. I check to confirm that we've got the king of clubs. There's some chance that we're up against a bluff, but there's an uncomfortable situation made worse by the big blind calling. Even if no one currently has the ace high flush, we could still be drawing stone dead. The big blind could have a straight, and the cutoff could only have the ace of clubs, and there'd be no way for us to win. We have to play tight when 7 people see a flop. Too many things have to go right for us to come out with a win in this scenario. I make life easier by avoiding disaster with a fold. It's down to heads up between the big blind and the cutoff with a large pot brewing. The river's the 5 of diamonds. I'm glad that we wouldn't have improved after hitting the eject button. The big blind checks. Part of the reason that I wasn't interested in calling the turn bet is because I know that the button's capable of exerting max pressure whether he has a hand or not. He jams for 11,700 effective. He has the big blind covered. The big blind is in the blender facing a large overbet. I'm no longer holding cards. I don't want to bother the big blind while he's in the tank with a big decision, so I stop recording. The big blind ultimately folds. We never see what either player ends up with. I'm content with my decision to abort when we did. A few minutes later, we're dealt ace-queen suited in the big blind. Maybe we're just going to get hit with the deck today. The button raises to 300. The small blind calls. Our hand is likely best and does better heads up. I 3-bet to 2,000 to let the opponents know that they're not going to see a flop cheaply with medium strength hands. The button doesn't like having to let his cards go, but he folds. The small blind follows suit. He folds as well. We take down a pot without having to see any community cards. That's a fine result, while we give the button a little slap on the wrist for trying to attack our big blind. Almost an hour in, we've got 10-8 suited. It's our turn for the button. I raise to 300. The small blind tries to slap us on the wrist with a 3-bet to 1,200. The small blind is the same opponent who jammed in the first bomb pot. We've established that he's aggressive. We can't fold hands with decent playability while we're in position against him. Otherwise, we'll be folding too frequently and we'll get run over. I call for 900 more. We're heads up. The flop comes 9-7-7 with 2 hearts. We've got an open ender with 1 over. The small blind won't connect very often on this flop after 3-betting. He checks. We're supposed to bet 70% of the time with our exact combo while we check the rest. Note, if the opponent bets small, we're supposed to raise small in order to immediately put him to a tough decision. I check back to ensure that we have a chance to improve. The turn is the 9 of spades. We don't improve at all. The small blind gathers chips and bets 700 as a little baby stab for about a quarter of the pot. I don't know why our opponent is going around stabbing babies, but we need to put an end to it. I put in a baby raise to 1700 because I'm totally fine raising babies. There's very little chance that we've got the best hand, but I doubt the opponent has a full house, and we have removal of 10-9 suited, 8-9 suited, 10-7 suited, and 8-7 suited, making it very tough for the opponent to have a 9 or 7 for a boat. The small blind folds was probably an ace-high type of hand that was best, but could have been drawing dead. We get a bluff through, winning several thousand in the middle without risking too much. Next we pick up king-9 offsuit in the big blind. The cutoff raises to 300. We're right at the bottom of our range for defending, but we can't let go of a man's best friend. I call for 200 more to bring the K9 to action. We're heads up out of position. The flop comes ace-10-9 with 2 hearts. We've got bottom pair with some backdoor draws. Ace-high flops are generally not great for us as the pre-flop caller though. I check. The cutoff is going to lean into his range advantage. He makes a small wager of 200. We have a pure continue with any combo of king-9, but with ours in particular, we're supposed to check raise the majority of the time while only calling about 1/3 of the time when we're holding the king of hearts. I call to see the turn. The dealer puts out the 6 of hearts, giving us the fake king-high flush. We'll have a lot of flush combos that will play this way. I lead for 700 to represent the nuts that we have removal for. The cutoff doesn't like the turn card and may not have too much. He folds, we win another pot. The deck isn't exactly hitting us in the face like it was in the previous session. Instead, we're staying afloat the hard way, battling for the small and medium pots when we've got removal to monsters. We pick up pocket 10s under the gun +1 with the stand-up game on. I kick things off with the raise to 300. There's no shortage of customers. The hijack, button, and small blind all call. The action's on Matt Berkey in the big blind. He's a man that doesn't fear the mafia and he doesn't fear getting in the mix. The only thing that he fears is losing the stand-up game. He 3-bets at 2400. I've gotten it in against Matt during the stand-up game while he was holding some very marginal hands at best in previous sessions. I can assure you we're way ahead of his range with pocket 10s. There's no chance that we're backing down, but we don't want to go 5 ways to a flop. I 4-bet to 6,000. We might have to get it in for 18,000 total, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take at the moment. The hijack, button, and small blind fold quickly. When you put pressure on Berkey, he doesn't hesitate to return the pressure with interest. He rips it for 18,000 effective. My decision was already made up.
All in.
Alright, Berkey's putting you on ace-king, he has 2 10s.
Very unlikely.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite.
We're running it twice against ace-king offsuit in a pot of nearly $40,000. The first run out determines who gets a stand-up game button, so the winner will no longer be on the hook to pay out each player at the table $300. I haven't had a ton of luck running hands twice this year, since I mostly won the first run out and have lost the second one, which is always frustrating. The first flop comes 7-6-4 rainbow. It's as safe as it gets for 10s without improving. The turn is the 5 of hearts, which is annoying because this could easily end up in a chop now if the dealer puts out a straight on board. But in general, it's looking good for us. Berkey's just rooting to split it.
Hey.
God, come on.
Same.
We were 80% in the clear when we lose half the pot right at the end. We're also still on the hook to lose the stand-up game regardless of what the second run out is, but it's a big sweat. The flop comes queen 6-5 with 2 clubs. We at least avoid the ace and king on the flop. Plus, we have the backdoor club draw. Still, I'm not feeling all that optimistic. The cutoff doesn't think that I'm going to win either.
It's kind of spooky, buddy.
The turn 8 of diamonds gets us 1 step closer to chopping. The river is the 4 of spades. We at least hold on the second run out. I'm glad that we run it twice because it saves me from getting stacked. Could have been a lot worse, especially after that first river.
You won both of them.
See that, honey? We're putting in 20,000 with 10s.
Yeah, because you got it in for 20,000 ace-8 once against me. We pick up king-8 suited in the cutoff. It's down to heads up with me and the button to determine who's the loser of the stand-up game. I open limp to make our path easier to get to a flop. If I raise, the button will 3-bet at a very high frequency, or he can call, then the small blind or big blind will 3-bet, and we'll have to decide whether or not we want to play a massive pot with only a suited king and a bad kicker. Instead, we simplify things by trying to play nice. The button limps in. Everything's going according to plan so far. Remember, we're playing 100-100. Small blind checks his option. The big blind checks as well. 4 of us are seeing the flop. It comes Jack-Jack 5 with 2 clubs. We've got a flush draw with 1 over, which might be the best hand, or at least the one with the most equity. It checks to us. I bet 200 to see if we can win it, or at least give ourselves an opportunity to see a fairly cheap turn card. The button is not conceding. He calls. The small blind folds. The big blind folds as well. It's down to heads up to end the stand-up game. We need to improve. The turn is the 10 of hearts. It's a card that I suspected was missing from the deck since it was nowhere to be found during all the runouts against Berkey. It's no help to us here though. I check. Perhaps we can get a check back. Nope. The button bets 600 to apply some pressure. He could actually be doing this with worse than king high. We're absolutely not folding since it would cost us 2,400 in penalties to give up. I call with 2 grape chips to get 400 back and change. We're about to see an important river card. It's the deuce of hearts. We had so much potential, but it's all been wasted. We've got dust. Well, almost. There's still a slight chance that king high is good if the opponent has some sort of worse flush draw, even a hand like 9-8 of spades, but the list of combos that we're beating is a short one. I check. We might have to call if the opponent makes any reasonably sized wager because he has a massive incentive to bluff. He considers putting on the heat, but he checks back. We get to showdown with air. Maybe it's just good enough though. King high.
Oh my goodness.
We get an unconventional win with a missed flush draw to avoid having to pay out 2,400. I would have preferred to have just scooped Berkey, but we escape by the skin of our teeth and we're still about even for the day. In this one, we pick up pocket jiggities under the gun +1 with another stand-up game on. I go with a larger opening size and raise to 500. The cutoff needs to win a hand just like we do. He 3-bets to 2,300. I suspect that this is a lighter re-raise than normal due to the incentive to win a hand and not pay a penalty. We have 16,000 in front of us. We're probably currently best. I announce an all-in. The opponent has us covered. We don't get snap called, which means we're not up against aces, kings, or ace-king, and probably not up against queens either. This is looking pretty good. After the opponent gets a rough count, he makes the call. We agree to run it twice and flip the cards face up from the start so that we know what we need to root for. The opponent has ace-queen offsuit, so we've got a 56% edge. The first flop determines who will win for the stand-up game. It comes king-king 5 with 2 clubs. We retain the lead as no one improves. The turn is the 9 of clubs. Neither of us are holding a club in our hand. The river is the king of spades, giving us the win for half the pot and the stand-up game. It's nice to be free-rolling the rest of the way with over 30,000 on the line.
Can't beat the jiggities.
Second flop comes ace-king deuce with 2 hearts. The opponent drills his key card, and there's little hope for us to scoop. The turn is the queen of clubs. It's a 2 pair that the opponent didn't want to hit because we pick up a ton more outs. 10 jack. We don't hit a straight or set on the river. Ultimately, it's another chop, but it saves us from having to pay everyone at the table 300 each, although we're still stuck a few thousand on the day. A bit later, we're dealt queen 9 suited on the button. It's been folded to us. We're definitely going to be playing this one. I reach for chips and bet 300. Small blind knows that we'll be opening wide. Because of that, he's going to 3-bet at a high frequency. He re-raises to 1,200. It's close to the bottom of our 3-bet calling range. It's in there though. I call for 900 more since we're in position with suited cards that can make us straight. Plus, we've got 1 face card. We're heads up. The flop comes ace-10 deuce rainbow. This is the annoying thing about playing mediocre cards. It's tough to connect with boards. The small blind down bets to 800. It's less than 1/3 of the pot, so we're getting over 4-1 on a call and only need to win 20% of the time for it to be profitable for us to continue. We have some decent backdoor potential to actually make a strong hand, but it's probably not enough to justify making the call. I call anyway, with plans of maybe turning our hand into a bluff if we need to in order to compensate for the lack of true equity that our hand possesses. Being in position gives us a decent chance to overrealize as long as we're willing to pull the trigger on a bluff or semi-bluff. The turn is the jack of spades. We pick up a straight draw. We can improve to a monster with any king or 8, plus we have removal to Broadway. Small blind at least pretends that he likes seeing a 3rd Broadway card come out, announcing 3,400 as he puts in a flag and 4 black chips. I've mentioned a few times now that the opponent on our left is aggressive. I think his perception of me is that I'm pretty tight. He might be trying to bully me with 1 pair, or maybe worse. I wouldn't be completely shocked if he only had king high. The problem is that we currently don't beat king high. Since most players at the table consider me to play solid, I'll get more credit when I do bluff. This seems like a good time to cash in on my image. When we have removal to the nuts, we're up against someone who's shown in the past that he doesn't always have huge hands when he makes large bets, and even if we make a play, we have an okay shot at improving. There's 13,100 in our stack. If we don't use it, we'll lose it. Or maybe in this instance, we'll lose it if we do use it. Either way, I'm going with my gut to do what I think is best in the moment. The opponent doesn't make us wait too long, he quickly folds, we win a big pot with only queen high by putting it all on the line, repping king queen, which is a credible hand that we could have had. We haven't connected too well with any boards post flop up to this point, but we're managing to hover around even by making bluffs at key moments. If we can start hitting real hands, we might be able to win a lot before we have to leave. We're dealt ace-9 of clubs in the big blind. It's currently only four-handed. Most of the table has been dealt out since a lot of the players are taking a quick bathroom break in preparation for a new stand-up game to begin. Berkey checks his option from the small blind. Our hand is good enough to raise with. I make it 500 to go. Berkey's having none of it. He 3-bets at 2,000. The old check re-raise. Fortunately, we're strong enough to withstand a 3-bet. I call for 1,500 more. We're playing a $4,100 pot heads up in position against Berkey. The flop comes ace-7 deuce rainbow. We've got top pair, not a great kicker, and a backdoor flush draw. Berkey down bets to 1,000. Maybe he likes the flop, maybe he doesn't. I call to see what develops on the turn. The turn is the 3 of hearts. We don't improve, and we're kind of in no man's land, not knowing whether we're ahead or behind. Berkey checks. There's no need for us to pump up the pot, but I'm starting to feel more optimistic that we've got the lead. I check back. The river's the 8 of spades. The small blind checks again. I'm not sure whether we can get value out of too many worse hands, and there's still a possibility that we could be up against something like ace-queen, ace-jack, or ace-10. I check back once more. Berkey turns over pocket 5s. I show him that we can beat the speed limit with our pair of aces. Berkey could have played nice and saved himself some money, but he had to get out of line with the 5s. It works out well for us as we win a sizable pot with one pair and essentially no kicker. We're up 1,000. Briefly. I lose the ensuing stand-up game and have to pay out a couple thousand before picking up ace-jack suited in the small blind. I check my option. The opponent on our left likes to do a lot of betting for us anyway. He raises to 400. We probably have him dominated, and we can potentially hit a surprisingly strong hand while he might blast away if an ace comes out on the flop. I call. We're heads up out of position. The dealer puts out ace-jack 3 with 2 diamonds and a club. We've got a hidden top 2 pair and a backdoor flush draw. We absolutely smash it. This is going just how we drew it up. I check. The big blind has the betting lead. This flop should generally be better for him as the pre-flop aggressor, but that's unlikely to be true this time. The opponent bets 400 once again. There are some draws out there, but there's not a ton to be worried about when we're as strong as we are. I call to keep the opponent thinking that we've got a medium strength hand at best. The turn is the 6 of clubs, giving us a flush draw to go along with our top 2 pair. It's a beautiful card that could help us improve to the nuts. I check once more. Again, the opponent is going to keep firing. This time he goes larger with an overbet of 2,000. I don't think that he has much since we have removal to all the strong hands, plus there are a lot of cards that will make our hand even better. The opponent could be drawing dead or near dead. I suspect that he's bluffing, and we want to keep his bluffs in. I call once more. This has become a big pot. The river is the 10 of clubs, giving us an unbeatable flush. It's possible that the opponent has something like 2 pair or better, but I highly doubt it when we've got removal to aces and jacks. Plus, we have clubs. For us to call over a pot-sized bet on the previous street, the big blind has to know that we probably had something with a lot of potential, like some sort of combo draw that might have just improved in a big way. For that reason, I don't want to check because the 10 of clubs completes too many draws. I think the big blind will shut down all of his bluffs, and it's unlikely that he has a hand strong enough to bet for value, given what we have in the run out. I still have one last trick up my sleeve. I make a small bet at 1,200 to make it appear as if it's a blocker and that we want to get the showdown cheaply. This tactic works particularly well to induce bluffs from overly aggressive opponents who pounce on weakness. No one likes to give up when they're getting almost 6-1 on a call, but what's he supposed to do if he has missed diamonds or a hand like King 10? If the opponent happens to have a flush, straight, or set, he might still raise for value. This small bet plays into the big blind's tendencies in order for us to win more from him when he has something really good or really bad. It also ensures at least some money gets put in the middle when the opponent has only top pair and might have checked back the river with a combo like ace-king or ace-queen. The big blind just calls, which I didn't expect to see quite as much as a raise or fold. We show him the nuts. The big blind definitely didn't anticipate us having him totally crushed the entire way. Unfortunately, he reveals that he basically had the one hand that we might have made more from if I had checked or bet a larger amount. Jesus. The opponent river 2 pair with his exact combo, and if we had checked, he's supposed to check back the majority of the time. This is according to GTO Wizard, which you're seeing the graphic for now. I have a link down below in the description box for the solver with a discount code. This is a tool that I use a lot, especially when telling you guys what I should have done in certain cases, like I did previously in this video a few times, and it's one of the tools that I use the most to study. Going back to our hand, if we had checked river, what I think is more likely is that the opponent would have bet more than 1200. We would have put in the check raise, and the opponent probably would have folded. We still win several thousand to get back on the right side of the even mark. It's time to rack up a win of nearly $2,000. We didn't have a ton to work with today. The bluff jam with Queen 9 suited allows us to steal a victory and walk out of the casino with more money than we walked in with. We make the most of our short 4-hour session before spending some time with family. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. It helps out the channel a ton. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to get back to you. Don't forget to join Gold using my name, Brad, for the extra perks. Right now, there are all kinds of satellites to get you a 10K seat into the WPT World Championship at Wynn in Las Vegas. The biggest tournament there is going to be probably this mystery quest where there's 2 million added to the prize pool, and you qualify for that actually by playing on Gold. So again, more information down below. But yeah, Canada is now available. I'll see you guys in Toronto on November 11th, starting at around noon. So hopefully, if you're in the area, you can come by, say hi. We can chat or grab a photo or getting some hands together. All right, guys. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.